I'm outside today, long day, and I thought let's try this out. My most favorite mode of interacting, which is walk and talk. Yeah, if you're interacting with me much, you know that my most favorite thing is being on the phone, walking up and down somewhere. I don't know. I once read that Steve Jobs enjoyed that. I'm not doing that because of Steve Jobs, or there's uh, no correlation there at all. It was just very natural to me that it's the same as I like driving in a car and actually talking. I feel something, I don't know, this monotone kind of movement, wandering around, arriving somewhere in a car, not knowing how you got there, but having had this really deep, insightful conversation. I don't know. To me, it's always easier doing that than sitting at a desk, staring at a screen or something. I don't know. That's at least me. So I hope the quality is good. I hope you can hear me well. If not, Fabio, please do me a favor, jump in and let me know if my audio is breaking up or something, but I should have good quality. So cool. Yeah, couple of topics today. Want to discuss current markets. We have a big day today. Bitcoin ETF should be getting ready to trade at around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 9 p.m. here in Singapore, 3 p.m. Central Europe time, so in about 2.5 hours. It may not trade right in the very first minute, may take a little bit. Yeah, it might take some time. So obviously want to address that. Want to address a couple of cake updates that you should be expecting yeah, in the next couple of weeks. And then see if we have team members on. Right now we have Fabio on. So maybe he wants to share a couple of things then later on. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a bit of the overview. If you have questions for me, then just simply tweet at me. During the Cake Twitter Spaces, we don't take any kind of audience members other than team members. Just because I really wanted to be focused around the company. And yeah, that's kind of the route we're going on this. Cool. So let's discuss market conditions. We're at 62,000 Bitcoin. We've seen altcoins catching up slightly.
Not 100% sure, but there's some slight issue with your audio, Julian.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you're back. You're back.
I Oh, sorry. Okay. Um, I'll just try to walk where I know that the internet should be good. So we've seen altcoins selling off less against Bitcoin. We've seen, especially when you look at the 7 day kind of returns, I think it kind of caught up again a bit. It's not so terrible as it was before. And yeah, so I think we have seen a little bit of a support there. Bitcoin, obviously, everything is around the Bitcoin ETF at the moment. Pro Shares is approved, starting trading today. Valkyrie, fun side fact, they changed their ticker symbol to buy the fucking dip. So BTFD, quite funny. There's no fixed date yet when they should get when they should go live. Some people speculate later this week. Some people say maybe next week. Let's see. Looking at the numbers on the Bitcoin ETF, especially the ProShares one, you have to have a bit of caution though. For the simple reason we're talking about 20 million US dollars in Bitcoin futures pre-purchased. So they are around $20 million, and they have around $20 million in cash. So relatively small from an ETF standpoint as a general kind of position standpoint. We're definitely not in the hundreds of millions or maybe even billions that I hope we see maybe later this year. And then also, I mean, I'm not expecting everyone and their friends and their companies and partners and so on jumping onto this Bitcoin futures ETF today. So just manage your expectations. It's going to be very interesting to see how's the market going to react to this. I don't know. I think the market, probably most people, they're expecting that now, I don't know, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars are going to jump onto that Bitcoin ETF. I would be a bit more cautious on that. So just kind of manage expectations. I think that's the main thing. I think long term, everything is totally in play. I think midterm until Christmas, I'm still bullish on the 100,000. Short term, yeah, rest of the week. I think it depends a bit on how the people are going to react to the speed of the adoption. So these are the kind of ideas there. I don't think we're going to see a 2018 scenario right now. So if we're mirroring anything, and again, I'm definitely not a market cycle predictor here, but if we're mirroring anything, I think we are good on track with the 2017 kind of cycle. So yeah, and then let's see, when do people take their taxes? When do they take some profits? Um, let's see. I think at the moment, also looking at the numbers, we see a Cake, super strong growth, a lot of people coming in, getting cash flow. Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. We don't see massive new customers yet. And I think the entire market doesn't see that yet. So a lot of the customers we are seeing are people that already know about crypto, that are already in crypto, and and then basically just want to diversify, get cash flow in their crypto. That's kind of the trend we're seeing. Not so much the customer that got into crypto yesterday. And we are seeing this. I mean, we're seeing this in the Telegram groups, on the Facebook groups. We're seeing this with book sales. We're seeing this with anything that we look at. That it's not so much the new customer yet that's coming in into the entire market. It's more people who already are aware of crypto, and now there's a bit of an aha moment because of the Bitcoin ETF. And I think that trend is going to continue a little bit. Let's see how fast the price rises above a new all-time high. Again, my expectation is not that we're crossing an all-time high this month. I would expect it, just like I think most people expect it to go to an all-time high next month. But of course, I'm not against the price going up. I would love to see the price going to 100,000. So that would be great. Yeah, these are a couple of these ideas. Fabio, you are really deep in the community as well. What do you hear from yeah, from other members, other people discussing? What are things that you hear a bit around the markets?
Um, I saw actually a good meme this morning where this a little bit old guy, he says, my friends are congratulating me on my Bitcoin gains, but I'm balls deep into altcoins. Um, and I'm kind of needed to laugh a little bit. But this was to be expected most of the time before we break all-time highs. It's mostly Bitcoin season, and then as soon as all-time high breaks and we are a little bit later in the cycle, altcoins follow strongly. Most of the time, you never know, but this is historically this was the case. Now in the community, we see a little bit of a split. There is still, in my opinion, a lot of people that are in disbelief. There's talks about a double top. There's still some bearish people that actually think we're not going to take out the all-time high, and of course you have all the other the other camp, and you can see this mostly with the big influencers on Twitter, like the really big guys. Everybody's calling for 100k, 200k, 300k, and everything in between. But I guess the sentiment, especially if I opened Twitter this morning, it was super bullish. Everybody is excited about the ETFs launching. I think we have Pro Shares starting today and Valkyries starting a little bit later this week. And also interactive brokers opening up for their clients, and lots of bullish news. It's not there. There is still this expectation of buy the rumor, sell the news when it comes to the ETF. We haven't really seen the sell the news yet. We have not seen like a big drop in price, but it may still come. Yeah, I guess there's definitely a split between. So some people expect a sell the news event, and others think, hey, we're going to break all-time highs probably this week. I'm in the second camp, so I think I'm always bullish. So I think all-time highs this week, personally.
That's good. And I mean, it's also always fun. I want to share a bit. Like we have, obviously we do a lot of regular calls in the company, and we have catch-ups and stand-ups and one-on-ones and so on. And um, one of the obviously we discuss price, and we discuss what to invest in, and what do we hear, what do we see. And it's also obviously interesting, right, to see the different people and different kind of attitudes. And then we have people in the company who are like really all deep into like really questionable altcoins. And then we have people who are like Bitcoin maximalists, and then we have people who are like all into this NFT game. And it's I think that's so nice, yeah, to hear I don't know, to hear that and see that a bit also in the company, how everything is going there. Yeah. Uh, cool. Arba, you were here. I think you also was interesting from what's happening in your kind of mind. I don't know if you wanna, you're a listener right now. Let me see if I can make you a speaker because I mean you're also obviously involved in the price discussions we're having. But other than that, no, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, that's fine. Let's continue with a couple of things. So, um, going away from general markets, obviously big day today. Let's see what the Bitcoin ETF is doing, how strong it's gonna trade. Again, my point here is manage your expectations. I think then you can only be surprised positively. Um, yeah, if there's a sell the news, it would happen once people realize that maybe the Bitcoin ETF is not as attractive as everyone would expect right now, right? And maybe I'm wrong on that, and maybe the price is actually super. The adoption is super strong. Um, cool. There's a question that I want to answer, and that is which areas Arbeit is out is asking that. Interesting handle. Twitter handle is BTC underscore underline ETH underline DFI. Which areas of work do you currently enjoy most as the CEO of Cake DeFi? What is the most annoying thing about your job? Um, I think the most annoying thing is when I'm stuck in meetings 10 hours a day. I think that's really the part I just don't like. I think some meetings are really, really great. And then some other meetings I really have to be in there. And I don't know, there's two other things that I would really love to solve and work on. Yeah, I think that's for many people. I think if you talk to any kind of team member, most people dislike being stuck in meetings. I'm in a situation where I don't have to be in a meeting if I don't want to, but yeah, for some meetings, I just have to be in, even though I don't want to be in. I would love to work on something else. And again, it's not that it's a certain topic or a certain sector. It can rotate. Sometimes it might be a finance meeting where I'm just totally like, oh, golly, I don't want to go through like Excel sheets right now. And then sometimes it's, I don't know, I don't want to be in a marketing meeting because I don't know, at the moment I need to like talk to the product team, or sometimes I don't want to talk to the product team because I'm not so interested on a specific feature. I want to talk to something else, right? But I know it's super important and it's super pressing. So yeah, I think that's the most annoying part. What is the part that I really enjoy the most? I don't know. To me, I always like things where I learn the most. So a lot of things that we're doing that are I think very straightforward right now. We're developing some really strong marketing kind of strategies, mainly Kavi and then Fabio and Ewald is really kind of working there. And then obviously there's a lot of people involved, right? The content side with Flo and Arba. So it's like super, super strong in the entire marketing. I think there's going to be a massive, massive push. And it's just super interesting to see everything that's going out there. I think that's so much fun. A lot of marketing avenues that I'm absolutely not familiar in. Like a lot of social media channels that I have no experience in. It's just so interesting to see how they play out and what actually works and how the trend is shifting. It's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, like looking into these virtual influencer games, like what's happening there on the, it's just insane. Yeah, so like just seeing on and I mean, that was just hilarious. I wish Kavi was here and he could share that. Kavi is our VP of marketing, and so he's yeah taking care of all that. And so I said, hey, like this virtual influencer stuff. There were a couple of newspaper articles in Singapore, and I was like, hey man, this really seems to be taking off. I would love to take a look there. And he's like, yeah, but where do we start? And I said, hey, like one area that's definitely already strong there is the entire porn industry, right? Porn is so much like there's so much virtual influence or virtual porn there. So, and I'm like, hey, you need someone to do some research. And Kyle was like, what do you mean we need someone? Okay, let me sign up for it. And I was just, I mean, I'm just making a joke here, but like the funniest thing here was that it's just always playing around with new things and trying in all avenues, right? In marketing, I always thought marketing, I knew everything there, but I definitely don't. And then like audits, right? It's a super dry topic. I want to be dead serious, but like I really want to be in as many audit calls as possible and just like understand what is required to if you want to be a publicly traded company at some point, what is required for all that, right? And what are the entire kind of duties and responsibilities and what to do and what to watch out for. And it's just I don't know. Obviously I've never been part of a publicly traded company, and again, I'm not making any promises that we ever will be, but it's just so interesting to see that and see how that's all working out, and then obviously on how is something like that as an advantage for you as a customer, right? How can you be assured that our customer funds are safe and are there? And man, there's so many extra steps that are happening, right? Extra security steps, and I think that's just yeah. I think that's absolutely interesting. And then yeah, and I think the third part is really working on the product, discussing with u-zyn on what do we need, what the next steps, what products would our customers love, how can we smoothen the user experience. Um, yeah, I think all of that. And again, there's times when it just drives me insane when I don't know, auditor calls mostly like super late at night in Singapore, and I'm like, oh, I already had like a 12-hour day, and now I need to sit in like a 2 hour auditor call, and I'm like, oh, it's just unbelievable. But yeah, I think sometimes everything that you enjoy can also be, yeah, I think you should know that if you work, like nothing is always awesome. If you're the biggest chocolate lover, if all you get is chocolate, at some point you don't want chocolate, you want some diversity. And so, yeah, it's just super fun. Yeah. So that was a question I wanted to answer. If there's anything else, then just drop me a tweet, then I'll answer that. Another thing, so one thing you have seen last week, we integrated the DeFiChain DEX onto Cake. That's going to be a step-by-step work. So right now, you already should see that when you do coin swaps, that your fees are reduced by like 80, 90%. So there's like a big upside for you. It's way cheaper now already. And we're looking to expand the functions. So at the moment, we only allow very, very few kind of transactions and withdrawals to the DEX for the simple reason because we want to be testing this and checking it out. And then along the way, we want to expand this so that hopefully Cake actually has integrated several DEXs, and then you can basically trade and swap anything from Cake without actually Cake doing it. And that's going to be a bit of the goal from a licensing standpoint also. So that's going to be very, very important. But I think you have seen this. This was kind of a start. There's going to be an expansion of the function set, and we're going to be integrating more and more features and DEXs. I think that's key. So that is a bit happening. Then tomorrow, or I don't think if tomorrow, but over the next couple of days, there will be the launch of the Learn and Earn. Fabio, is there something you want to mention there? Arba, or could also be Arba, because I know he was also big in there. But Fabio, do you want to mention a couple of things there?
Yeah, sure. I invited Arbor on stage. Maybe if he can accept the invite, he can also share a little bit. It was a little bit of his baby. He had the main ownership of the project, but most of you already know the concept, I guess. Coinbase offers something like it. CoinMarketCap offers a feature. It's practically you can answer, you can participate in a quiz and answer questions. Initially, this will be starting surrounding decentralized finance, DeFiChain, and at a later point, we're going to add Bitcoin, Ethereum. Let's start from the top and work our way down. And it will be super interactive, especially for new customers that are joining the platform, because most of the customers that we have already within 2 years of being with Cake, they're intermediate, if not professional crypto users. But especially now, you can see this in Coinbase app downloads and Google searches. It's slowly ticking off. So retail is not here yet, but I guess they will be here when new all-time highs are crossed. And of course, these people will be pre-coiners, no coiners, so they don't have a deep knowledge, and this will be a tool to help them understand different projects, understand the platform, understand crypto in general, and earning a little bit while doing it. And yeah, I'm really excited about the launch, and I think our customers, it was a great way for our customers to get them involved and to learn more about the space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely going to attract people in. I mean, other companies, Coinbase do that. I think CoinMarketCap has that. So yeah, I think that should be definitely quite straightforward. Yeah, and then the next couple of two couple of things I want to mention here. We are probably looking into um, paying some promotional interest on our lending. I'm not sure about a timeline. The reason is simply because we're not selling any of the DFI that we're making as revenue anymore from customers. And so we're looking into how to put that additional DFI to use, because obviously we would love to reinvest that into growing and growing our assets, growing our customer base. So we're looking into that. So if you haven't checked out, lending, you definitely want to check this out. There's no fixed timeline, no guarantee that this will come, but we're looking into it, and we're looking into how to have the most impact for existing customers and for new customers. So it's definitely going to be something, if we do that, that's mainly focused on the lending side, and mainly focused on attracting more customers, attracting more um, uh, obviously more assets. At the same time, we do want to use that tool as a marketing tool also for DeFiChain. So at the same time, we're doing an analysis how many people, for example, on Cake are not staking, are not liquidity mining, so they're not using any of our other services. They only use lending. Then obviously we would love to have some cross promotion there between the various products. So that should also then help. And then that way we should be getting more and more people into the DeFiChain ecosystem. We should be getting more and more people into the staking ecosystem, more and more into the liquidity mining staking liquidity mining ecosystem. So all that kind of a bit of a cross promotion. So we're really working on some ideas there, see how we can have some maximum impact. And I think as a whole, this should really help all the communities and help the customer base, and obviously help Cake's bottom line, which for us is also obviously important. So so I think as a mix, I think that's key. Aside of that, I hope you have listened to last week's episode with Ben and u-zyn, where we discussed a lot of products. So obviously, team really working on mobile first kind of focus. So everything going out on mobile, coming on mobile, that's key. Working on stocks. From our side, a lot of stuff is actually done. It depends a bit on DeFiChain on that end. So as soon as DeFiChain is ready, then Cake can pretty much go. At the moment, our timelines are all set in stone. Should be good. First, all the decentralized tokens, and then decentralized loans a bit later. But the definite plan is to have all this before Christmas. So that's going to be very, very cool and quite exciting. So these are some of the major things. Do you have any kind of concerns, any kind of feedback that customers have been raising or that you have seen in the community, Fabio?
Maybe what's important to understand is you talked a little bit about the step-by-step integration of the DEX, and there was a question that was raised once or twice surrounding, we call it simple mode. So this is when you want to enter a liquidity mining pair and you're coming straight out of Bitcoin or Ethereum. There's still a little bit higher fees involved with that, because at this part, Julian just mentioned that we are going to do this step by step, and it's important, I guess, for customers to understand to integrate a completely decentralized functionality like a DEX on a centralized platform like Cake. This is extremely challenging, and we don't want to make any mistakes. So we're going to do this really step by step. So we started with normal swaps, and we're looking into the simple mode integration and move on from there. So to maybe address this, I saw this question coming up on Telegram once or twice, that people using the simple mode, they still have a little bit higher fees, and with the normal swap functionality, it's really like a little bit underestimated what we did there. But we reduced our fees by almost 90%. I think it's a 87% reduction, if I'm not completely bad at math, but it's actually quite a big step for us. And maybe this is a thing that community members want to know. And then also the other thing, I don't know, maybe you can share a little bit on that. People also are interested in when decentralized stocks are launching on DeFiChain. Will there be a time delay? When will this launch on Cake? Will it first be on DeFiChain and later on be on Cake? And how this works? This is also a main discussion at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe let me address both things. So first, obviously, on integrating a DEX, there's always going to be a step by step, right? So again, we're not making any promises that this will be like that we are going to go in this entire route. Also, we're not making any promises that once we try something out, we'll actually keep it, because we may encounter bugs, or we may encounter things that, again, we don't know how to solve it. We think we know, but then maybe we don't, and then. So the key, obviously, in the long term is that Cake is this interface into the entire DeFi world, and you have this super, super easy access point, right? But that means maybe sometimes we cannot offer a certain function just because we don't know how to solve it. At the moment, it looks all good. I just want to like really kind of put us away from any kind of deliverable liability here, that we're trying in the best that we can, but there's absolutely no promises. So we may add a function, we may remove it again. That's purely on the operational kind of thing, and a big thing is always safety of funds, right? That's also obviously key. Everything has to be tested, and all these things are absolutely crucial. When we get to the stocks, from our side, we would pretty much be ready to launch simultaneously as soon as DeFiChain launches. So there shouldn't be any significant kind of delay. So with a significant delay, I'm talking about a couple of hours or maybe 1 or 2 days. That just depends also a bit on the speed of things, but there shouldn't be any significant delay. A key thing to understand, on Cake, you will not be able to create stocks. You can only buy or sell them via the DEX. So obviously it is important for us for the DEX to work smoothly, and that's why we're testing all this, because this would allow you to buy and sell stocks. The reason why you're not going to be able to create stocks, maybe later on you will, but not at the beginning, because I think from a end user perspective, creating a stock is always a bit weird. Like you really need to understand a bit more detailed on what's actually happening. And and a lot of customers at Cake, and that's also the vision long term, is that I don't want people having to think about so many things, but they actually have a lot of charts and they have a lot of data, and that data is presented to them very easily. And so their decision making should be very easy. They should generally mostly make decisions on volatility and time horizon. These are the two main decision factors in any kind of investment, right? We can add a third one, which are unknown risks, black swans, the very difficult kind of adjustments. But these are the only three things that you can actually that you should actually make decisions on, right? In an investment. What's a historic volatility over a certain time period? How long is your time horizon? How is this aligned with your volatility? And are there significant unknown risks in your investment that you can't calculate? And at the end, if you give people a good kind of choice matrix, it should actually be relatively easy for people to say, you know what, I would love to invest for the next 5 years, 5 months, 5 days, to give them a suggestion based on the past 5 days, based on the past 5 months, based on the past 5 years, what was the volatility, what is the time horizon, and how does this fit together? And creating stocks is a very difficult kind of model, because it's not a very natural investment decision, because you're basically longing the crypto that you have and you're shorting the stock. So initially, we're probably going to exclude that from the function set on Cake. We may add it later on. We don't know yet. But this will be a blockchain native function, just because it's so much easier for people that are a bit deeper into the space how this works. Now, what on Cake you're going to be able to do is you're going to buy and sell stocks, and you're also going to be able to provide an exchange function. So that means that you can be part of the liquidity providing, and you're going to get insane returns on that. And I think these are the main things, and these functions shouldn't be too much after they go live on DeFiChain. In the best case, it's just a couple of hours. And in a worst case, we're targeting like 1 or 2 days. Yeah. So these are just to kind of understand, to explain that a bit. Yeah. And again, just maybe this concept is not so familiar for most people when they invest, right? I think most people, when they invest in a price. So all they look for is the price going to go up? Or is the price going to go down? But no one knows, right? So most people invest in is a price. And it's very dangerous, very dangerous to invest that way. Because you're basically just following the price. And if the price goes up, like you're super happy because you think you're doing stuff right. The price is going down. You think you're doing something wrong. And at the end, it's actually not really the case. The case is you need to look at mainly 3 factors in any investment. You need to look at the volatility an investment has. You can look at it either on a 30-day time horizon or maybe on a year, right? What is a yearly volatility? I don't know. Bitcoin's like standard volatility I think on a yearly basis is, I think, 50%. I think that's absolutely no surprise, right? It goes 50% down, it goes 100% up. I mean, we have seen both of those things this year. We have seen a drop from 60 to 30, and now we're back to 60, right? So completely normal volatility. So if you invest into something like Bitcoin, you need to be prepared that you have a 50% down, 100% up volatility in a year. And we also know, statistically speaking, that it's very unlikely, not impossible, very unlikely you lose money with Bitcoin if you hold it for longer than 4 years. Because statistically speaking, we haven't seen anyone who has lost money holding something for shorter than 4 years. And so so now there's just, what are the uncertainties, right? And there are uncertainties. There's, I don't know, Tether, there's Satoshi, there's regulation, there's taxation, but these things that you just factor in your entire kind of modeling. And so you could actually make this very mathematical. And obviously, a lot of the algo traders, if you ever talk to algo traders, they're really, really good at that. And they're really good at counterbalancing those various ideas against each other. And at the end, they're quite market neutral, they're volatility neutral. And that's why so many of these algo traders are constantly winning, where the average investor is losing most of the time. And so, and we would love to kind of replicate that on Cake long term in all these various asset classes, providing them super easy access into those various investment tools, and on top for people to get investment returns via cash flow. So yeah, and again, I'm not sure if creating stocks, which is basically shorting it and being long the underlying crypto, is a bit of a weird kind of flow sometimes. Yeah, so that's just some feedback there. Fabio, any other concerns, any other feedback that you have been seeing?
I guess the discussion at the moment in the community is, as you mentioned, dominated by price. And this is on many levels. For most people, actually, that I see in the community, they joined in late 2020 or in early 2021. And for them, these cycles between altcoin and Bitcoin are not completely logical. Most of the time, when you follow the markets, you see if Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. If Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down. But there are certain moments in the market where this is not 100% true. And for people that have joined the markets earlier, let's say in 2016, 2017, and they have already been part of these bigger cycles, let's call them 4-year cycles after halving, for them, these movements make complete sense. And I see maybe 30% or 40% of the discussions on Telegram and also on Twitter, they are on price. So people mainly they ask, hey, I'm holding XY coin. Why is this coin going down and Bitcoin going up? Because all they noticed until now is if Bitcoin goes up, altcoins go up. If Bitcoin goes down, their altcoin goes down as well. And I guess this issue or this discussion is quite dominant at the moment in chat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, 99% of the people that invest in something, obviously they invest because the price is going up. They don't invest because they believe the value is higher than the price. They just invest in price, not in value. And I think that's I think that's key. Good point. Okay. And I think that's gonna get worse. Actually, that discussion for until Christmas, wouldn't be too surprised. And then it's gonna be interesting to see how altcoins are gonna do. And again, if I would have to pick between being in Bitcoin or being a well-performing altcoin, I still think until Christmas we see Bitcoin performing well. I see the altcoin doing better. The only question with altcoins is that you cannot just invest into an index. That would be great because an altcoin index would have always outperformed Bitcoin over the last years. But the difficult part, and that's why Bitcoin is such a well-performing asset, is that there's so many altcoins that underperform Bitcoin. And so with Bitcoin, you're definitely not going to be the best performer, but by far, you're not going to be the worst performer. And at the end, that makes it so much easier as an investor. Never forget that. And of course, here a bit of a plug, getting cash flow on top of your Bitcoin, even better. So yeah, use Cake. Cool. Let me look at a couple of other topics that we have Are there other questions? Okay, no more questions on Twitter. That's good. So I see a lot of personal stuff question. I'm not gonna go into those today. Um,
I guess what people, of course, are interested in, what you also mentioned on Twitter, is the price prediction part.
Yeah, so price prediction part for me, Bitcoin this year, I still see the 100,000. I still see Ethereum being able to reach 8 to 10,000. That depends strongly on if we do see an altcoin season. I think that's doable. Many people always ask about DeFiChain. With DeFiChain, it's gonna depend a lot on how stocks are gonna hit, how the pickup rate of that is, how much liquidity is still in the market, and I actually think there's very low. And I think we could see a mega positive surprise on DFI. I still owe people a video on DFI hitting $20. And I think that's still possible. We're talking about 8x from right now. I just think people underestimate um, the liquidity squeeze that could happen. So these are kind of the kind of price. I don't want to say predictions because who knows, but these are prices that wouldn't surprise me. So I think that's the major thing, right? If Bitcoin were to hit 200,000 by Christmas, that would surprise me. It would surprise me positively, but it would surprise me. If Ethereum would hit 20,000, that would surprise me. It would hit it would be positive, but it would surprise me. If DFI would be hitting $100, that would surprise me. It would surprise me positively, but again, surprise. Like if I would have a time traveler that comes from Christmas and says, look, these are the prices, and it's Bitcoin 100,000, Ethereum at 10,000, DeFi at 20. None of those would surprise me. And I think that's always a very key part. But again, this can also turn the other way around, right? So to me, a Bitcoin price to the lower end, I think a Bitcoin price under 30,000 would surprise me. So if Bitcoin were to get stuck at 40,000 until Christmas, wouldn't surprise me. It would be bearish, but it wouldn't surprise me. So I think that's also important to mention here, right? And then obviously, if Bitcoin were to go bearish, which again I don't think, but just want to say that, Ethereum and DFI I think would also have some negative price pressure, but I don't see that as much as a probability scenario. I think the bullish scenario is way more bullish. Is way more likely. Of course, the bullish scenario is way more bullish. Yeah. Okay. Other than that, I don't have anything else on my notes. Fabio, any other topic that we need to address? We also only had you today live because I know people really, really busy today. We have actually had a lot of work. But are there any other things that we need to address?
I don't know what we can share about teasing things that are coming in Q4 or that we planned maybe in Q1 2020. I leave this up to you if we can tease anything.
Nah, I would love to leave it at that for now. Let's really deliver the things that we discussed already. Stocks, loans, like working on expanding the decks, working on obviously the staking, the liquidity side, working on making Cake way more well known. With that, obviously, hopefully, DeFiChain, lending, staking, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think that's going to be a very key focus. And I think there's enough things on our plate there. I would rather love to tease about crazy new plans and other plans and like not new plans, but like other features in our products. Once yeah, stocks and loans go live, I think that's a better time to be honest. I think let's do that because otherwise we are talking about so many things that are coming, and I would rather love us to deliver on the things that we have been discussing.
Maybe I have on the finishing note. I had two tweets that I read in the last 24 hours that kind of resonated with me. One was by Phil B. He's a trader and technical analyst, and he wrote, with higher prices, it is a train leaving the station, and with the train leaving the stations, the hope and dreams of people of owning one whole Bitcoin will leave as well. And I kind of, it's a little bit philosophical, but it resonated with me because $60,000 is a lot of money for most people. Maybe not in Europe or in America, but for most of the people around the world, this is actually a huge amount of money. And if you're talking about $100,000, there's not a lot of people actually able to afford this. And then maybe there was another tweet by Benjamin Cohen yesterday, I think, and he said, if you have a bearish thesis about what is to come, or about the current market conditions, always ask yourself, when is the thesis invalidated? And there is a lot of bears. They said, I'm going to switch my mind if Bitcoin breaks 53K. Then it was 58K. Now it is a new all-time high. And yeah, it's you also practice this a lot, Julian. You always, when we talk, or when you talk within the team or within Cake, you always ask what kind of what needs to happen that your theory or your opinion is invalidated and you would change your mind. And I guess this is always an important question to ask, not only on the upside but also on the downside.
100%. Anything else is just emotional blah blah. Yeah, that's it's very yeah, it's very anti-rational. It's or non-rational, irrational. It's very emotional. And again, if you don't have an anti-thesis, um it's yeah, very dangerous to have the thesis. And again, I mean, one of the also obviously for me being like deep down in my heart, like science is always what excites me as a medical doctor. I think that's absolutely important to always understand. One of the key aspects of science is always actually, can you test your thesis, right? And if you can't test the thesis, it's not science, it's pseudoscience. And I think good investing is very similar in that regard. You try to break it down, you try to understand what's happening, you try to you try to eliminate any kind of errors. And again, obviously, as an amateur investor, and I would assume most of us, including myself, we're amateur investors. We don't need to spend the same amount of time and the same amount of resources as professional investors have to do, and we have to accept that we're not going to get the same kind of returns as professional investors will do. But with very simple little things, we can like take emotions out of the game, and yeah, and at the end, that's going to make us more successful and wealthier, hopefully, at the same time. Cool. Then with that, I want to say thanks for joining our Twitter space today. We're gonna upload that as a podcast next Tuesday, 12:30. We're gonna have another discussion. Let's hope we have a bullish discussion. Let's hope we saw a new all-time high as Fabio is predicting. Again, I'm a bit more cautious on it, but I'm super happy if Fabio's right. Well, I'm not. It's not about having to be right. It's about making the right decision. And yeah, obviously, Bitcoin going to an all-time high would definitely be fantastic. So, with that, I wish you all a nice Tuesday, nice evening if you're in the Asia time zone, nice rest of the day in Europe, nice morning in the US, and consider subscribing to the podcast and following us on Twitter. And obviously, if you're not a Cake customer yet, what are you waiting for? And yeah, if you want to be working for the company, we have like, I think, over 20 job openings right now. Go to cakedefi.com/jobs and check that out as well. With that, thanks so much.